Good afternoon. I'm Ross from Lifetime Property Accounting, and we're just going to go through a rental example. So, had clients in today, and we were looking at could we find a multi-unit property, multi-income property in Dunedin, and what would the numbers look like? Unfortunately, I couldn't actually find a multi-unit income in Dunedin that had the price and the rent for it. But I came across this property, so an old student rental, and just wanted to look through the numbers. What did it look like? What does it all add up to? What do I think of the cash flow? Yeah, we'll just get into it and go through that. So I try not to show what the properties are, so I've just written down some of the information. So it's 629,000. It's near the Otago University. It's 5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It's 265 square meters of land. So obvious thing we're straight away thinking of is 265 is not very big. There's not much land to it. It's rented $875 until December 2026. And just some general pictures. It's well, not really big, but it's an old villa. Yeah, it looks like it's in good condition. It's all looking great at the moment. Um, yeah, it's 5 bedroom, like we said, 1 bathroom, small kitchen and living room. They've got it well staged in the pictures, and there was about 4 seats, but there's 5 bedrooms. So you just got to be careful with some things like that. Is it really suitable to 5 bedrooms, potentially up to 10 people staying there, 1 bathroom, small kitchen living area? Just another picture. So yeah, a little bit of an outdoor area, but you can see newly fenced, newly subdivided off the biggest section. Not that much area. Looks nice and tidy. Yeah, they've obviously done it up. Yeah, the wallpaper and that looks good. The painting looks good, but it's still obviously an older property. So you just have to think about that. That even though it's done up, older properties still need more work. Kitchen, simple renovation for it, simple do up, nothing amazing, but looks neat and tidy. The bathroom, same, simple, yeah, cheap things done in there, cheap vanity toilet and shower, but it's all been recently done and done up. The bathrooms look nicely done up. I noticed on all the other doors they had locks on the doors. Yeah, just nicely done up. And obviously, don't get put off by the staging. Obviously, this has been staged to make it look better. So what we'll do is, yeah, have a quick glance at what the numbers look like, and then see what we think overall. So the price, if I go back to that, was 629,000. So yeah, we'll do it at full value and say that we get it for what it's advertised for. The rent they're saying is 875, and they were advertising that it's rented until December 26, but still potentially with student rentals, you've still got potential issues, you've got gaps. I'm going to be nice and just discount to 51 weeks. But yeah, it's something I'm hesitant on. We'll discuss the risks a bit later on. 51 weeks, 875, 44,625. 44,625 divided by 629 gives us a 7%, 7.09% gross yield. So often when we're looking at rentals, we're seeing things in the threes or the fours, maybe the fives. So a 7% is looking good, but we just got to make sure we go through all the cash flow. So I've got some accounting in there. I've got insurance. I generally look at Initio, and yeah, generally go onto their website and put in the property address and see what comes up, what the rent is. This property came up with floodplain, so I'm guessing that the rent will be higher, and we're going to struggle with normal insurance. So rather than something like 1,800, 2,000, I've gone 2,800. Current interest rate, maybe 4.7%. Very hard to know what the interest rates are at the moment, and they're changing a bit. Property management, I've got it at 8% plus GST at the moment. Rates, I looked them up on the website, on the council website is where I'd normally get the information. And they were $3,221. Repairs and maintenance is the big one. Trying to work out what we're going to put into it. And yeah, that's the hard one. So what we're looking at is obviously it's an old villa. At some point, you're going to have to paint and repair the roof. At some point, the gutters will need work. Some point, you're going to have to paint the outside. Inside, the wiring and things like that, what work's going to be required long term. We could be spending a lot. So yeah, it is in a good condition. but I'm probably still going to go 4,000 a year, 40,000 over the next 10 years. And the big one I'd be looking at is a roof that could change that. Obviously, roof issues, yeah, if you've got more issues with the roof, that's going to cost you more, and it's going to add up. So we've got 44 for almost 45,000 in. Expensive also included. You might go to some property seminars. You might join your local property association, like I'm a member of Waikato Property Investment Association. Let's be nice and say you're living in Dunedin and not traveling far. So 44, 45 in, 46 out, we're losing 1,900. Then you would get a chattel's valuation done through Value It, to value the carpets, the curtains, the dishwasher, the stove, the heat pump. They look reasonably well done up. We're going to get some reasonable chattels to start with. We're going to end up with a loss. If this is our only rental, this loss is going to be ring fenced and carried forward to the future. Then what I look at is predictions. What does the next 10 years look like? And this is only interest only, so there's no principal on this. Yeah, with my sort of predictions in place. So I've got rent going up 4 to 5% a year, which it has in the past, and a bit lower for this year. Inflation 2.5%. Interest rates going down a little bit and then up. Really hard to pick interest rates, but based on Reserve Bank neutral OCR, they're sort of looking around 3%. Plus maybe a percent or more margin, you're sort of 4-ish, maybe a bit higher. And then putting some conservative factor in there, I've sort of sat around the 5%. So went down a bit to 4.5 and then up a bit to 5.5, sort of sat around that for the 10 years. Big guess, it's even hard to pick interest rates a year out. So what we're sort of looking at with this property is over the 10 years, we're expecting it to average $3,000 cash flow positive. So that means over 10 years that, yeah, we expect it to put $30,000 cash into your pocket. That's after paying any tax, and there's probably none on this when we look in a second. And it's also all based on interest only. If you go P&I, which is obviously the best approach if we can, it's great to pay down the loan, then you end up with less interest. That's $6,000 loss per year. Yeah, if you wanted to go principal and interest. So looking at that cash flow, it's sort of average. It is giving you a positive number. If we look over the next 3 years, it's basically a small loss. It's losing 3,000 over the first 3 years, so it's a small loss. And if we look over a 10-year period, we're expecting the rent to slowly go up, 44,000 up to 65. All our expenses to go up, interest sit more or less the same. Yeah, we're going to start off small loss and then slowly start building up. So overall with this property, the cash flow is not actually looking too bad. It's not amazing, and I'd always wish it's better, but the thing is why I've done this example is it is a student rental. There is a high yield around that 7%. And then we're looking at what are the big risks. What am I worried about this property? And it's the repairs. So essential thing is going to be the building inspection, looking at the property, especially wiring, foundations, roof, all those big items. What are they looking like? What are we going to spend? Another big one is that rent realistic? I know they're saying they've got it rented for $875 a week up until December 26. I would be talking to a couple of different property management firms and actually ringing them up and asking them and checking, is it desirable? Is it sustainable? Are you going to get $875 a week going forward? Because if you get lower or you can't rent to students and you have to rent it just to a family, that rent is going to drop. So really checking, is it sustainable? Is there a good student demand? Are we going to get that kind of rent that we're after? The next one is with the capital value. They are saying that it's 629. CV is 390, and it's just been subdivided, so maybe it's not accurate. And some great spelling on my little Word document there. Online values coming up about 560. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit overvalued. It really depends what it's worth for you. Big one for me is that 265 land value. So what I'm looking at is how do I add value? And it's already 5-bedroom. It's got 1 bathroom. It's going to probably cost a lot to put in another bathroom. And is it going to give you any more rent? You can't subdivide it. You can't put a dwelling on the back. You can't do anything else with it. It's already looking beautifully renovated, looks amazing. So it's going to be really difficult to add value to this property. So this would be a major one for me. You're sort of buying it looking its best. Is it is it going to go up well in value? Because you can't paint it to make it look better. It's already well painted. You can't do the wallpaper or do it up. It's bathroom, kitchen, everything is at its best. So the big problem with this is that you're going to be struggling to add value. Um, and yeah, obviously another one is that insurance risk. So it had flood risk. So obviously it'd be one to check, can I actually get insurance? And understanding what is that a little bit more. What is the real risk to this? Do I want to be involved with that? So yeah, to me, the cash flow is actually, yeah, is actually reasonable on this. Um, for a stock standard rental, yeah, if you're looking at buying it, it's sort of paying for itself over the next 10 years. That's what this property does. It doesn't give amazing added value potential. So if you're looking at buying a second, a third, and a fourth rental, it's not really going to help with that. But if you're realistically just looking at buying one rental, um, yeah, it's just gonna sit there for the next 10 years. Yeah, it's got reasonable cash flow and ticking those boxes. Something just to be aware of is what happens if interest rates go up to 7%. Yeah, suddenly then we're looking at a huge loss. So that's always the thing to be careful of in the background, is it wasn't that long ago that interest rates jumped up to 7%. And we just don't know what's going to be in the future. So overall, I would be a no. Personally, I wouldn't buy it because I can't add value. Um, Second, for any property investor, I would be looking at, can you do better? But yeah, probably last is, yeah, the cash flow is not too bad. If you've gone through and checked those things, yeah, especially around the repairs and the rent and that sort of thing, and you can get a property that basically pays for itself for the next 10 years with no money in, obviously then you're gambling on capital gains a whole lot less, and at least it should be easier to hold it. So hopefully you found that information helpful. Hopefully you've got something out of that, and yeah, just keep an eye out. And I'll put it in the links. On the 1st of October, we've got a simple webinar like this. It's just called Reviewing Current Deals, where I'll go through 3 to 5 deals like this. What does the rent look like? What's the cash flow? What do the numbers look like? Would I buy it, yes or no? And hopefully you might find that useful and sign up. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. See you later. Bye.